The next gun we're going to talk about is by Fowler Industries, known as the Vanta9. So Fowler Industries have been around for many years now. Owners Kane and Logan started doing work on Glocks. So most of us know Fowler's work because of what they were doing specifically with Glocks, especially the accuracy, the reliability out of the guns. I like the fact that they don't run drop-in barrels and call them match barrels. They're literally oversized, hand fit into the platforms. Now let's enter the world of the 2011s, right? So a lot of 2011s that are out on the market. This project, probably about 2 years from the time they started talking about it to now production guns being out to where people actually have them and are able to run them, shoot them, all that good stuff. This project took a while, but I think overall in the end, it was worth the wait. So the Vanta 9mm, I'm gonna cover some of the attributes and some different things with it so you can get a good idea on what exactly you're getting. So when I do these segments, I always try to ask companies for just information, why'd you do this, what inspiration, things like that. Because I think that history is kind of important, especially as it relates in this particular case. So Logan Fowler's dad is Mickey Fowler. For those of us that are older and used to watch like ESPN, used to have the Bianchi Cup championships on there. His dad, I believe, is a three-time winner, Steel Challenge, IPSC. Obviously, he's been a shooter for many years and was very renowned. So now enter in all the different guns over a period of time that Logan has now come across. So we're talking about Swenson guns by Armand Swenson. When I was in the Coast Guard, I worked at a gun shop part-time because I had a gun habit. So pretty much all the extra money I made just went back to me buying guns. That's why I worked at the gun shop. That's why most people start off doing that, right? So you're just funding a gun addiction at that point. And there was a older gentleman there, a really nice guy named Chet. He had an old Armand Swenson gun. Generally, you'll kind of note the top of the slides. I forget what they call it, but it's made to where if the sun glares on top of it, it doesn't mess up as you're trying to, sight in on something. But it's a method where it looks like it's gotten hit a bunch of times across the top. It was a really interesting 1911, and generally you'll recognize them because they have sometimes Colt Python rear sights and or regular, I think they were Millet adjustable rear sights, meaning they look like revolver sights. Some were revolver sights like off Smiths and stuff. So very kind of old school traditional. When I shot that gun, it was amazing. That's the only time I've ever shot one of those guns. I've shot John Jardine's guns, I've run Miller guns, combat precision guns. I've run, of course, Nighthawks and Wilsons myself. But now what you're looking at is taking some of what Mickey Fowler had, which were Jim Hogg's guns, Jim Boland's guns, Nolan guns, Bruce Gray, and kind of combining it along with, consulting probably one of the, if not the best 1911 builder in the United States as far as consulting on this project. Taking all that knowledge and then throwing it into basically the Vanta 9. And this is gonna be Fowler Industries' version of a double stack 9mm 1911 for all intents and purposes. How does this gun shoot, if I were to describe it? I've shot STIs, I've shot SVI Infinities, I've shot John Jardine's guns. This gun feels like a combination of John Jardine's gun and SVI. So if you're familiar with those guys and the way they do things, that's what this gun reminds me of, a combination of those two weapons that I've shot for many years and put a lot of rounds through. Couple things. It's obviously a steel slide, steel frame, and then an aluminum grip, okay? You have a couple different options. When you get the gun, you can either have them, and it just depends how you want it pre-installed, but it has a plate here in the back, okay? Gun's unloaded, so don't get all freaky. I'm trying to show you guys the best angles here, all right? This one is the plate for a red dot optic. So what happens is underneath this optic right here, this will come off. There's 2 bolts that locks the plate down into the slide. If you remove that, you can put on the iron sight to this, which makes it a nice clean gun. You can get on their Instagram page and see what it looks like. But basically at that point, you have a John Jardine rear sight on that particular one that's perfectly cut into the slide. So it looks perfect, like it's meant to be there. You would not notice that that portion of slide came off. So you have the option to run strict irons or go into the red dot side of the house. I know somebody's gonna ask, I'm running the Hollow Sun on here and it's a 508 version. I also like the side batteries, makes it a lot nicer. So it'll do the Hollow Sun, obviously a Trigicon and an SRO. So some of the other ones you would have to double check with them optic wise of whether it's gonna run that or not. This gun comes with a magwell on it. I've been showing you removed. I like it removed. Personally, I asked them not to put it on. And the reason why is because I want to be able to get in there and be able to rip that magazine out, especially one-handed. And sometimes if you're running a flush mag, what can happen is you got to get in there and dig it out. Now the magwell does have those side cuts on it, which makes it a lot nicer for getting in there one-handed and stripping mags out. But again, it's just personal preference. So the gun's going to come to you probably with a magwell on it, unless you tell them otherwise. One of the other things that I really like, on a 1911, a lot of times guys really want to take this slide stop and they want to make it extended. And then what happens is my hand rides right in here and pushes down, and then the slide never locks back to the rear. So I like the fact that it's really sleek down the side. And if you notice down on the bottom, you are able to get in there just enough to be able to lock that slide. So I want just enough to be able to lock the slide, but when my hand comes in on this gun and it rides real high, the last thing I want is anything extended, and then I'm of course pushing down on the follower on the last round. As soon as your hand slides into this gun, it's gonna feel like it's at home. That's the first thing. There's not a rough spot on this gun. It's completely dehorned. It is very smooth. When I say smooth, I'm talking about at all the spots that would normally bother me on a stock 1911. So a lot of times I equate it almost to like a baseball glove. You get a brand new baseball glove. What are you trying to do? You're trying to just, tie that thing up, oil it, like really soften it up. I mean, it's nice just to grab somebody else's baseball glove that's already broken in. As soon as your hand goes into that glove, it's just pliable, so to speak. And that's how this feels. It feels like it's already been broken in for you. Normal magazine release on the left-hand side. I like to run ambi, especially if for some unforeseen reason you're shot immediately. I'd rather just be able to pull this gun out, same side to safety, and engage, not grip the gun, go over to one side, disengage the safety, re-grip the gun in order to fire it. So I like it that it comes with an ambi already on it. In regards to the rail, we'll talk about that next. So this is a full-length dust cover, and that's what it looks like with a weapon-mounted light on it. This one happens to be a Surefire X300. Pretty much when you're dealing with a full-length dust cover style of frame, the majority of the lights that are out on the market are going to interface with this. So you can double check with them, but generally most of the lights that are out on the market, you're going to be able to put on this gun as well. Couple things, may not seem like a big deal, but this little index point right here on the right side of the gun in case you were southpaw, and then it's right here. I really like that. I have a lot of guns that are $4,000 guns, and I have skateboard tape there. And it's kind of like the equivalent if you were to get a precision rifle and, it's a $4,000 gun. And to make it to where you can see through the scope, you just take some foam and some 1,000-mile-an-hour tape and you just wrap the stock and beef it up. that's what it is to me. Just, man, a lot of us have index points from the Glock world where we stipple that. So it's nice to be able to come in and find that spot every single time. So it's just me, a little bit of a pet peeve, but I like the fact that they have one on there. Flat face trigger right here. The barrel is done by Barstool. Barstool, everybody knows Barstool makes really accurate barrels, and you know it when you shoot this gun. I like the lines on it right in here. And then you can see, I don't know what it is about that. That thing just looks sexy. I feel like it's like a hot rod engine sticking up out of the car with the things that like what Vin Diesel drives and shit. Something like that. But nevertheless, you can see as far as the workmanship and the lines on it, up top to right in here, just a fantastic job. The next thing I'll cover real quick is just kind of like a final surmise and some holsters that'll fit this gun. So as far as holsters, I've been running the holsters from Tier 1 Concealed. You have obviously an outside, the waistband belt mounted. You have one with the Safariland interface right here. And what you would order from them, I believe, if you got on their website, would basically be a full rail STI models, probably how it's going to go down. You're not going to see a Fowler Industries on there, but those holsters were built for an STI for this gun. And then this is their Exfos holster. I'm probably screwing that name up. This holster I really like, holds the gun very well. I even put a little bit of a cant on it, and you can manipulate this piece right here, add or take off, and all that does is help give you a little bit of cant back into the body. So there's Tier 1 Concealed already does holsters for this gun. You just got to order them as a 5-inch STI with a full-length dust cover. They also have magazine pouches. This one's a basically more of a IWB or kind of covert because it's going to be on the inside closest to the body. And then they have their normal ones right here that clip onto the side of your belt. I guess a couple things in regards to some finishing thoughts with the gun, because you got money to spend and you got to make a decision of whether it's worth it or not at the end of the day. I think that for a gun like this, they should be charging more. I know you're not gonna like, because I'm technically gonna cost you more money if they raise their price, but I've shot a lot of the different guns that are out there. I've shot $8,000 guns, and I've shot $3,000 guns, $2,000 guns, and really what it comes down to is, am I getting my money's worth? There are a lot of supercars that I would like. I'd like to buy a Porsche, turbo model, right? All-wheel drive, all the bells and whistles that would normally come with that car, or Ferrari, or a Bugatti. What I look at is, am I getting my money's worth? Not whether I can afford it right now, okay? Because I can always work my ass off and one day get it. The question is, if I go to spend the money, is it worth it? And what I'm going to tell you is, it's more than worth it. They should be charging you more. It's such a great shooting gun. As soon as I hand it to one of my students in class and the rubber meets the road, you immediately realize, wow, for what this gun is and how accurate it is and the way it feels. Like I said, that worn down baseball glove, it's DLC coated. Everything moves on it. Like, there are no hangups on that gun. I think they've, like I said in the very beginning, I think they hit a home run out of the park, and I can't wait to see what some of their other builds are going to be in the future.